Good morning, everyone. My name's Derek. This is There Will Be Cars. On this channel, you'll see reviews of new cars. You'll see first drives of cars that are about to hit the market. Today, I'm at the Star Hill Ranch in Bee Cave, Texas. I'm at the 2019 Texas Truck Rodeo. It's one of the signature events of the Texas Auto Writers Association. So for a couple of days, my colleagues and I drive a variety of SUVs and trucks on-road and off-road, and then we determine which vehicles win certain categories. The two biggest titles that a manufacturer can win at this event are SUV of Texas and Truck of Texas. I'm sure you've seen the commercials where a manufacturer touts the fact that one of their vehicles was named the Truck of Texas. This is where my colleagues and I determine who wins that top prize. There's a variety of vehicles here for my colleagues and I to drive, but there are also a few static displays, meaning that we can't drive them, but we can get a closer look at them. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do with the Lexus GXOR Concept. And to give me a better idea of just what hardware Lexus puts into this concept vehicle, I'm going to turn it over to Josh Burns with Lexus.
Hey, I'm Josh Burns. I'm with the Lexus Product Communication team, and this here is the GXOR Concept. So this is essentially a next level off-road package that we build as a concept vehicle to kind of show the possibilities and capabilities with the GX platform. I think for a lot of people, they don't necessarily equate Lexus and capability in off-road. And the GX is a very capable stock platform. We've made some modifications here. In a lot of ways, I think this was maybe to pay tribute to a lot of what's happening in the enthusiast market, where first generation GX 470s, a lot of people are taking them, modifying them, and they've had great success in the off-road environment. Just as a good weekend vehicle, not necessarily a race vehicle, but really something that you take out and explore the trails. So this is really, I think, paying homage to a lot of that. As you can see, it's customized color, kind of has this matte gray finish. There's a lot of great, cool black accents to the front of it, but there's a lot of help that we received from some of our partners in the aftermarket industry. There's a Warren winch that's tucked in here. CBI built this stealth lower bumper, so kind of improve the clearances and also provide a little bit better off-road protection. So kind of walk around here, you can see some of the changes. So we put an F Sport wheel on the GXOR. As you can see, kind of tucked in here, there's some pretty awesome icons. So these are 2.5-inch remote reservoir shocks.
Oh,
so
cool.
Larger shock body, so you have more oil volume in there. So when you're really bouncing through any of the rough stuff, you know, you're not going to lose that damping pressure. But also have Icon billet upper control arms as well. So this just allows you to kind of make full use of all that additional suspension travel that you have. So put larger General Tire grabber tires on here on the F Sport wheels.
Okay.
So get it up a little bit further off the ground as well for additional ground clearance. So on the side here, you notice these are functional component. You see these in the aftermarket a lot. It's called sliders, and obviously this will protect your rocker panels here on the side. It also gives you access, though, to the roof rack up on top. So getting in and out of the vehicles, but also providing a little bit of additional protection. So up on top, so we have Max Trax recovery devices.
Nice.
There's a 50-inch rigid light bar up on top for a little bit more visibility when you're really out off-road. There actually are solar panels up there in the middle as well. You'll notice on each side we have these alu boxes for additional cargo space for anything you might need to carry
Nice
out on
and
the
sturdy.
trail. Yep. And then in back we also have 2.5-inch Icon shocks in the rear. You notice the hose coming over here to the remote reservoir. It's kind of tucked away so that it doesn't get damaged.
And then I noticed you have these inlays on the door handles.
Yeah, a lot of little customized features with these cool black inlays. There was some of that you saw up on the grill, but also on the handles as well. Swing you around to the back here, and kind of some cool additional features in the back. So, you know, really more of an overland focus, I think, with this vehicle. And overlanding isn't necessarily about conquering the toughest trail. It's really about self-sustainability. Being out there for, you know, a 4 or 5 day trip and having the ability to get there and back, but then also be self-sustained, whether it's, you know, being able to bring your camping gear, but also your food. So Goose Gear built this custom setup here. So there's a lockable drawer here. So you can stash gear in here and anything you might need to keep safe. But you still have plenty of cargo space up above. And then this actually pulls out, and it's a fridge freezer combo. So having the food you may need to be along for a long off-road adventure.
Uh-huh.
There we go. Both fridge and freezer option here.
Oh, cool. Now, is there a separate battery on this vehicle to power the auxiliary stuff?
Yeah, you can. It's a concept vehicle, so we didn't put a battery to have this running on it. But yeah, you definitely can. Sometimes people do that, have an auxiliary battery to power both, your auxiliary lights and fridge freezer combo, stuff like that. Then you're not drawing all your power off your main battery.
Yeah. Because you want to be able to, once you're done overlanding, you want to be able to start the vehicle and leave.
Get back, yeah. Mag flow exhaust here on the back as well, so it gives a little bit more growl to the V8 engine.
Oh, cool.
So these customized GXOR badges that we have around, and you may notice it's a little bit wet out here, but there's kind of this cool treatment we have here on the side. GXOR is imprinted into the side of it.
Oh, cool. Kind of like the TRD Pro.
Yeah.
That's really neat. I like that it's tonal.
Yeah. Neat kind of play off of our friends at Toyota. So showed you the suspension and some of the same features on the other side, but what's unique over here, there's a Safari Snarkle over here. So you notice this on some of our Toyota products. We had the Desert Air intake on the Tacoma. A lot of people view these purely as water fording and bringing that air intake up higher, which is true to some extent, especially in the aftermarket. I know for where we take a lot of our overlanding cues is really from Australia and the outback and covering distance, and they will have to ford water sometimes. So that is part of the idea. But you're also drawing the air intake up out of the wheel wells where all your dust is generated when you're running off-road. So you're bringing up clean air up here so that you're not running through your air filter, or where you get 20 miles into your drive and you need to pull over because you're not getting the engine performance you should and shake out your air filter. So kind of helps with the longevity off-road. But yeah, it's an amazing concept vehicle that came together with some of our great partners, and I think it just kind of shows the capability and possibilities with the GX platform.
Now, I don't know if you can comment on this officially, but do you estimate there's any sort of upgrades here that may work their way into a future GX, or do you have plans to officially offer any of this as aftermarket parts for the GX?
Well, it's a good question, Derek. I think whenever you build concepts, you're really looking at the idea of what could be, right? So sometimes you're exploring possibilities of what you can do with the platform, and possibilities of what we could potentially do in our lineup. So TBD on that. We haven't announced anything yet, but this thing was such a hit, I wouldn't be surprised if there's something that we can learn from this and apply it to future GXs down the line.
Yeah, same here. I wouldn't be surprised either.
A lot of the changes are to the exterior, but there's a couple key changes inside. One being this ICOM ham radio option. So, having the ability to connect with your group when you're off-road, or you just need to get in touch with someone because, of an emergency or anything. You kind of always have to be prepared for anything off-roading when you're out on your own. So, it gives you that option. A couple cool things, have mount here for different devices. Sometimes you can put another navigation unit on there, or for your phone, something to keep, something heavy duty so that you have access to it when you need it. This is your S-Pod, so this actually controls a lot of your switches, so kind of allows you to run some of your auxiliary inputs on here. So you can run your air compressor from here. This has front and rear lockers installed, so additional off-road traction that you need. So it'll essentially, you can plug those into the S-Pod system. It allows you to use some of your auxiliary inputs, and then you can actually control them from here. So pretty cool.
Cool stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's too bad I wasn't able to get behind the wheel and drive the GXOR Concept, but that was a really cool look at an interesting vehicle. The GX is getting up there in years, but this is a really cool way to get some more eyeballs on it as it ages. I think what they did was really interesting, functional, and it just gives it a hardcore edge. If you liked what you saw, please go ahead and click the like button. And if you haven't subscribed to There Will Be Cars yet, please go ahead and do that. Click the notification bell so that you're alerted to when new content hits this channel. I'm always putting new content on There Will Be Cars, and I hope you're here to see it when it comes out. Thanks for watching.